Are
Hello.
you okay?
Hello.
Are you okay doing video?
Sure. Yeah. No,
Okay.
I actually just because when I saw that you were doing that on the invitation, it said video because they hadn't actually sent. Anyway, doesn't matter. I was like, I finished my client at 9:10, and I literally haven't washed my hair in like 7 days. I was like, just got in the shower. I blow dried my hair, so like, yes, I'm prepared to do video.
Wait a second.
Sweet.
You said 9:10. Are you from the future?
I am. I have a DeLorean. My best
Tell me
friend
when's
is
the World Series.
exactly. My best friend is Marty McFly. Like we're all good.
We watched that with
I freaking
We watched it this last weekend too.
Really?
pretty good little movie.
Yeah.
It holds up. It like my 10-year-old, whenever the mom is kind of coming on to her son, and she got that weirdness. She was like, "Ugh." And my other
Marty, your mom's pretty hot. Like, I don't have to tell you, pal.
and she's in The Outsider.
It doesn't count. You're in the
HBO.
past. Nothing you do counts. It's all right.
Nothing you do.
Oh man! So we were just talking, Kathleen. The last time
Yes.
you were on was I looked. It was in March of last year. I can't believe it's
Yes.
been a year, more than a year.
Oh my God, it's just insane. Time
crazy.
time is this weird thing where like, you know what they say of like long days, short years. Like it's like every day feels like it's so long, yet a year goes by, like a month, like
Yeah.
She's probably like, "Why is this guy wearing all this Bulls stuff?"
Yeah. Mark's on his way to the Bulls game. He's going to
Oh, okay.
he's going to United Center right after this.
It was a bit I was doing. I need to take the check.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I like the
I was
Bulls.
going to
It's
say
good.
something about where are you calling from right now? I'm imagining it's
Toronto, Canada.
Hey, all right. I love Canadians.
It's pretty cool.
I love everybody, but I love Canadians specifically.
Good. I'll
I'm,
take it.
I'm a hockey nerd, so
There you go. Okay.
Are you a hockey nerd?
I'm a hockey nerd through my dad. He's like 77 and still plays hockey. Well, not anymore, but like pre-COVID, like 4 days a week. And like,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm, and we have the rivalry. My partner, James, is obviously like Toronto Maple Leafs. And then my dad is Montreal Canadiens because he lives in Montreal. So there's like
that's
the
not good.
family rivalry and like all that kind of stuff.
Montreal has won they won a Stanley Cup. They won.
they have won a billion.
I know.
Stanley
I'm
Cups.
joking. I'm joking.
Okay, I was like, I thought you were.
They won like.
You're like,
They
wait a
won one
second.
time.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I have a
anyway,
theory. Have I
okay.
told Rick? Have you heard my theory on time and why it seems like it goes faster every year? Have we talked about this?
I don't think we have. No.
So this is my theory. So when you get to your first birthday, you're 1 year old, right? That year makes up 100% of your entire life,
Mhm.
right? At your second birthday, that last year made up 50%.
50%. Yeah.
And that number just
Yeah.
keeps getting smaller. Every year.
I hate to tell you, but I don't think that this is your theory. I think that this is a lot of that's sort of what it because it's like every day takes up less of your space in your conscience.
Okay,
like
here's
if
another
you've only
theory
had
I
one
have.
day. Yeah.
Water is good for you. You should drink.
No.
I mean, I'm telling you, when I'm thirsty, there's nothing like it. It's really good. Okay.
I love how you're like, hey, listen, I got this this theory. Okay, energy equals mass.
There's this thing called gravity.
Okay, stay with me here.
Yeah.
It'll fall down terminal velocity toward the.
What was that?
Terminal
Got that, Richard?
velocity. Don't you dare mock me.
Oh my God, you guys are fucking hilarious. This is great. This is amazing. I love it. You're making my day.
Awesome.
Well, I'm glad.
So let's talk about what
Yes.
Toronto.
Yes.
What we're in the Texas area. It's like what is
Okay.
happening up there? Is it the same kind of stuff that we're going through?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's on a degree everywhere. Like, so Canada is very like big, and like you guys have different sections. So like up north in Canada,
I think
there's hardly
Canada is very big. Is an understatement.
is like a gravity.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like gravity same. But I just mean like it's very diverse. So it's like
right.
up north in Canada where there's like one person every 100 miles. Like there's like no cases. So up there they're basically like living their best lives. But in Toronto, I think it's much more akin to a big city in the States. Like we had 2 weeks of absolute lockdown. This week our garden centers opened. This weekend our parks are supposed to open. So we're in sort of like ever so slight gradual reopening, but I think it'll see what our numbers happen, like what they continue to open. But some of Canada, like Saskatchewan, which is one of our provinces, open, like they have physio opens, they have like hairdressers are open, BC's very much open. So it's I think it's like you guys, like it very much differs depending on where you are. But
Right.
Toronto, we're in almost like we're not in quite lockdown. Like we're allowed to go out for walks and stuff.
But Toronto's the biggest city. That's the biggest city in Canada, right? Largest population-wise?
I don't know if it's either Toronto or Vancouver.
No,
Vancouver,
sure it's Alaska.
I'm going to have to Google this now.
It's Alaska.
I have no idea.
Rick, it's
Okay.
Alaska, clearly.
Largest city.
Hold on. So what was the show with Luca, what's his name? Don't F with Cats.
That was
Did you watch that?
Part of that took place in Toronto, yeah.
Did you watch that?
No.
You-
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you have Netflix? This is like the
Yes.
Do you have
perfect
Netflix
time.
in Canada?
Don't
Yes.
F with Cats, and it's not a comedy. You have
Okay.
to watch it.
Okay, don't
has
F
your
the cats.
Don't F
No,
with Cats.
Oh, okay. 'Cause I
No,
was gonna
that's
say-
that's my film. Okay, that's a different one. The
I was
title
gonna
is
say, I
similar.
feel like that's a lesson I might have already learned.
You're like, okay, it's not the normal Netflix. There's this back room.
Yeah, exactly.
Netflix
This back door. I was like, what are you trying to make me watch?
where
Okay.
there's animals.
I-
involved. Don't F with Cats.
Okay.
And Toronto, they're part, like the physical
write it
city
down.
of Toronto plays in.
Okay,
to-
cool.
It's crazy. I can't believe you haven't seen it. Rick, what's
Okay.
the answer?
Toronto is the largest city by population in Canada.
There you go.
And
Amazing.
Mark
I did not know
is
that.
Pumping his fist like he named an actual city. Hey, Mark, I'm sorry. Just we can pause for short. Name me 5 cities in Canada, Mark.
Okay.
You already have one. We've been talking about it for like 5 minutes.
Alaska. I'm kidding.
Do it for
Toronto. Toronto
Okay.
is that one.
Okay,
The one on the other side is Ontario.
that is not a city. That is a province. It's a state, like a state.
Okay.
Okay.
Then
So
there's one
Toronto.
on the other side, Montreal.
Okay, you
There
have
is
2 cities.
Montreal.
Okay. Now you have the one that's just north of that one, which is Canadian.
What was that? Okay.
Wow.
First of all, are you guys recording this?
Yes. This
This is the show.
this is the show.
Show?
Yes.
We were just totally fucking shooting the shit.
Oh,
This
no.
is the show?
This is the show, baby,
Oh,
right here.
I got
Wait a
my
second.
bleep. I got
Wait
my
a second. Wait a
bleeping
second.
tool all over the place.
I have not said one thing about fitness so far.
No, we'll get
I-
there. We'll get there. Our
Yeah.
job
Okay.
is to steer you towards it, but
Yeah.
Okay.
people enjoy our
Or-
witty
or
repartee.
or is your job to just totally trick me into thinking that I'm just like having a conversation and
Hey,
really
we've had
getting-
shows where like
We get to the end.
we
and
end up
they're
like with
"When
like
do we
3
record?"
minutes of the guest
Yeah.
actually talking about their area of expertise, but we'll
Yeah.
get there.
This
We're
is the maybe my favorite podcast I've ever done.
we have people
It's
say
the
that all the
second time
time.
you've done it.
I know, but see, the first time I did it, it was just the two of us.
Yeah,
We didn't
it
have
was
all
not
three.
me. Yeah,
That's
I was
right, that's
unavailable.
Right, and so it didn't have this. So I was just sort of like, oh, like both of them have never worked with me before. We're just gonna like, chat away. I'm like swearing my mouth off. Like,
No. I got a
but,
bleeping
like-
tool. I got to use it for Rick all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Yeah.
people don't realize that I swear. I have such a potty mouth, but like people who know me don't actually know that about me.
Well,
so now you've let the cat out of the bag. How
well,
is the
do you
show?
want me to
how
go
is
in and like
the
cut
show all
out?
about cats?
Do you
No,
want
I
me
don't
to?
want you to cut out anything.
Okay.
No. I just was surprised.
Okay, perfect. We already.
So people.
So the
are
last time we
listening.
had you on, I guessed your birthday, and I guess I didn't record it. I didn't say. So what? When did we always do it? We guess your birthday. Rick wasn't on last time. We couldn't do it. We'll just ask you, when is your birthday?
Actually, I just had my birthday last week, May 4th, and
That's
it
what I was
my
gonna
best-
say.
May the 4th be with you.
Exactly.
Star Wars
Yes,
Day.
you can never forget my birthday, and it was maybe my best birthday of my entire year because yes,
Well,
of the entire
best
year,
birthday
but
of your
my
whole
entire
year.
life. Yeah. But of my entire life, because listen, I actually got to do exactly what I wanted to do because I couldn't do anything with anybody because we were in isolation. So, like most birthdays, I have this debate. Either I do the things that people want me to do and I feel slightly resentful, or I say no and then I feel unbelievably guilty. Right? So it's
Yeah.
like, which is better? And now this birthday, I didn't have to say yes to anything because I wasn't allowed to do anything. And it was
Yes, and you didn't
all
feel
like-
guilty.
no guilt, no resentment. I had the best day in the entire world. It was like an
What did you
entire
do?
Kathleen day. What did I do? I did an online Pilates class. I went for a run. I
Nice.
actually recorded a podcast, which is one of my favorite things to do. I love these things. I did a little bit of work. I watched some TV. I never watch TV at like 9 a.m. in the morning. It's like so decadent. And then my partner,
Like
James.
you've given
he's a-
up for the day. If you're
Yeah,
watching
exactly.
TV
I
at
know.
9,
That's what I said.
I'm
Everyone
done.
was like sending me these happy birthday emails. They're like, "How are you?" And I'm like, "Well, I've given up for the day. It's 9 a.m. and I'm already watching Netflix." And then James, my partner, he's a great cook, so he made me roast chicken, and it was great. I did some like Zooms with some friends and stuff, and one of my girlfriend's best friends dropped over like a gift, and we did I was on the porch and she was in her car, kind of
There you
social
go.
distancing thing. But it was honestly, it was really refreshing to do what I wanted. And I remember I was listening to a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and they said like, in this time, don't just think about what you're missing, but also think about what you're not missing.
Mm.
And then when this is all over, try to like keep both of those things in mind. And I was like, yeah, I'm not missing resentment. I'm not missing guilt.
We talked about this last week in Crosstalk, Rick, and I'm going to ask you this because I feel like this is going to kind of get us going here.
Okay.
Because we've already wasted 10 minutes. That's not a waste. People enjoy this kind of thing. Okay. I asked Rick this last week. Okay, there's all these new practices that we individually have as individuals and that the society has, right? What one thing, handful of things do you hope continues either individually or as a society, like once all this is over?
Are you asking me or are you guys
Yes,
asking
I'm asking
each other?
you.
Oh, sorry. I thought you guys
I thought
You
you
weren't very clear in that, Mark.
No, I'm just it's yeah. What one or two things? I think it's the ability to sort of find a middle ground, I hope, is what continues. So for like if we take my business, before I saw everybody in person. And if I had said to somebody, oh, you're going on vacation, why don't we do a Zoom session from vacation? What they would say, like from your cottage, let's say,
like,
what
I don't have the technology. I don't know.
Yeah, they would say, I don't have the technology. Or they would say, well, it's not worth it. It's either in person or it's bust.
Right.
And I think with fitness, one of the keys is to just always have a solution. Like being active is a non-negotiable, and how you make it happen. That's where you have to be ingenious and you have to come up with a good solution. And you have to be willing to say, it's not always going to be the best workout, but something is always better than nothing. And I think that that's what's come out of this time is like, I'm now seeing all of my clients over Zoom, and people are saying to me like, oh my God, when everything goes back to normal, I'd like to do a combo of Zoom versus not. So if it's like a really crazy snowy day, I'm just going to do a Zoom call, and it won't be quite as good as in person, but it's better than like not showing up, which is what some people would do. They'd be like, oh, it's snow, I'm just going to stay home. So I hope that with fitness, people continue to be like, oh, I can't get to the gym today, but I can do a workout at home, or I can't go to my favorite Pilates class, but guess what? I can do an on-demand a yoga by Adrian class. Or so because I do think that we shoot ourselves in the foot with fitness of this idea of like, if it's not an A+ workout, it's not worth doing. And that's just bullshit. Like, exercise is about consistency. It's about every day being like, how do I move my body? And some days are going to be an A+ workout, and some days are going to be a C+ workout. But the C+ workout shows you that you show up no matter what, that you're a professional about your health, right? Like you don't always want to go to work, but you go because it's your job. And that's the same thing with health. You just have to be like I do this no matter what. And how I do it depends on my day.
Right. And it's the accumulation.
Exactly.
Fitness.
It's the compound interest of all of those choices. And sometimes you make the biggest gains on the days that you think are going to be the worst workout. And then sometimes the workouts you think that are going to be the best workout are terrible. Right. But it's the showing up. It's like bum in the seat. And it's day after day, and it's consistently building habits.
Here's another thing that like a mental thing that I think it's like there are days I have been more consistent on I'm doing this like strength training plan. I have basically a weight room in my garage. So
cool.
That's like awesome. All my friends and your brother and everything are like, oh, all the gyms are closed. I'm like, yeah, I've got one right here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've created my own. It's all good.
So it's like there was a day that my back was kind of tweaked and I just didn't really feel it. And I was just like, I don't want to work out today. But I went out anyway and I just like forced myself to do it.
Yeah.
And afterwards,
you felt better
I was
after,
like,
I bet.
oh man, I feel so good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's
well,
so,
listen, the worse your mood, the more important your workout. If you already feel good, you don't need to work out so much. Like I say that to clients, literally. Like if you're having a good day, those are the days I don't mind if you skip the gym. Because so much about exercise is your mental state and showing yourself that you are the type of person who shows up even when you don't want to. But on the days you feel like absolute dog, those are the days that you say like blah, 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 get your ass to the gym. Like I will always feel better when I'm done. I think a succinct way to answer the question that you asked me 10 minutes ago is just, I hope that what sticks is people's ability to be creative about their workouts and find solutions.
Right.
And just to get over this like perfectionist mentality, create a gym in your basement, create a gym in your garage, do workouts, with your kids at home while you watch Netflix, like whatever it is, just do something and get out of your own way. Like it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to get done.
I love, there's basically one bike shop in the city that I live, and they don't have any bikes. Like in 20 something years, he's been open. He's never been out of bikes.
Like a bike store, like a spin bike store, or like
like a bicycle.
Motorbikes?
No, like bicycle. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
People are just going and buying bikes, and like all the bikes that enter his shop, his racks are full, but it's all like repairs he's doing on people's bikes. Like because people are like riding their bikes and like getting the family and riding bikes.
I love that.
I love it. Yeah.
Well, and it's cool how people are finding these solutions. So I'll give you another example. I have clients who are like isolating. So one day, my 5 o'clock today, for example, she is in Toronto isolated, and then her daughter is in Chicago isolated. So what we did was a 3-way Zoom call, and it was super, super fun, right? So, and it was a way for them to see each other as a family, right? Yeah. But it was also a way for them to get fit. We would have never thought of doing, like, that daughter has lived in Chicago for 10 years. That mother has been here training with me for 15 years. Have we ever done a communal Zoom call? Like, no. Like, how cool is that? And I bet her daughter will continue to Zoom herself into the workouts, even when her mother is back at the studio with me. Like, we'll just put my computer out.
Yeah. It's so easy. We all have the capability.
It's so easy.
Well, like, not even with like,
why didn't we think about that before?
I know.
Yeah.
Well, like Rick, like I've been playing Zoom games with my family and like with Rick and some other friends. Like, why do we have to like plan a weekend to drive over and have this whole thing? Why can't we do that at once a month? That's
totally
super fun, you know?
Tell you what, I wish you had your time machine going so I could go back in time, like maybe 9 weeks, and buy 1 billion shares of Zoom.
Oh my God. Me, absolutely. Yeah. It's so crazy because we all use Zoom as like, even if you're using WebEx, everybody's Zooming. Like it's just
like Kleenex.
It's just totally, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. What happened to Skype? I feel like Skype, like
they missed the boat, man. I don't know what happened.
I don't know.
Skype used to be the thing, and like it's just gone. Zoom just like went over to Skype and was just like,
Zoom, man, I feel like Zoom is so much easier because we used to do the podcast on Skype.
Mm-hmm.
We were already Zoom experts.
I would Skype.
You were already.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we've been doing Zoom for probably like a year or so.
Yeah.
Well, it's been like 2.5.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
But we used to do Skype, and just I haven't heard anybody use Skype in a long time.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel very lucky because I was already using Zoom for my group coaching. So I had the platform. I knew how to use it. So when we got shut down, I wasn't I was like, oh, I know how to do that. Whereas I think a lot of my colleagues or just even people in other professions, like my mom's a therapist and she had to learn how to use this for her therapy clients. And she was freaking out because she's not good at technology. She'd never used it before. It was a lot of change. So I feel good that I already knew it. And it's funny because it also just makes you realize that there's pros and cons to everything. So would I rather see my clients in person? Sure. But at the same time, Zoom, if I do a workout with them, I can record the workout, send them the workout, and then they can just repeat it. So there are pros that, I try to be as positive about it as possible. Like if you have to use Zoom, if you can't go to somebody in person, you might as well look at the positives. And one of them is that I can send them homework. Like if we're doing an exercise and they're like, oh, I kind of like this. I'm like, okay, well, let's video it. I'll send it to you and you can do it every single day, So that's useful.
Good, yeah.
I just thought of something.
Thank you.
Do you care that your email is showing?
Oh, no, it's fine.
I don't think any of our listeners are gonna like.
No one's gonna send you just like just pictures.
Like, oh, she likes cats. I want to send her cats pictures. Hopefully no one will do that.
Please don't send me cat photos.
Okay, well, hang on. Last time you were on,
You can send me fitness questions.
yeah, there you go.
Okay.
I just
Fitness
thought of
questions
that.
are
That's
reasonable.
live
Yeah,
and
but no
learn. Make
cap.
a whole video thing. Tell them that we've started, and make sure that it's
Or maybe don't tell them that I've started, because I actually do feel like you got a much more authentic version of me, you know, than a lot of podcasts. So
Okay,
Chit chat, the chit chat section.
the chit chat. Yeah.
Last time you were on, we talked about the Daily Stoic. We talked about journaling. I know you know about those things, and there's that whole idea about control what you can control.
Yes.
What are you telling people and your clients now in this? Like, well, I can't do anything. I might as well just start drinking
absolutely
beer
not.
at 8 o'clock. You know?
So I say a lot of things. So I wrote this blog post called Always Taking the Path to the Right, and very much based on Stoic, The Obstacle is the Way, the Ryan Holiday book.
Have you read Stillness is the Key?
I have not. I've listened to a lot of him talk about it. It's next on my list. I'm
75% of the way.
Is it amazing?
Is it amazing? It's great. It's just
okay.
That's just going to be one that's just on my.
On your thing, yeah. I do love him. So yeah, it's on. I've actually purchased this off of Audible, but I haven't listened to it yet. But I love his podcast, the Daily Stoic podcast. So basically, always take the path to the right. So the idea is, I say to my clients, listen, this pandemic is here no matter what. It's not like if you yell at the pandemic and swear at the pandemic, it goes away. It doesn't fucking care what you think of it, right? Like, so getting mad, getting upset, drinking a bunch of alcohol, it doesn't do any good. So you have the two paths. You get upset, you're frustrated about the pandemic, you're frustrated about the fact that you're isolated with your kids and whatever. You can either go to the path to the left, where you still have the pandemic, and then you also gain 30 pounds and feel like absolute dog crap. Or you can take the path to the right, which is, I make the best decision possible in this moment. I make the best choice. I make the choice that's going to make my future self proud. In one way, you compound you compulsively make the whole situation worse, because guess what? You're going to wake up, this is going to be over, and then you're going to be heavier, you're going to feel terrible, you're going to be super frustrated. Or you can wake up in a month or 2 months or 3 months or whenever this is over, and you can be like, I feel proud of the decisions that I made.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. And I say that to myself so many times during the day, because there's so many times that I just want to like throw in the towel and I get frustrated. And, I find that although I love being with my clients and I'm so grateful for Zoom, it's actually much more exhausting than in-person training. So I'm tired. So I just say to myself, Kathleen, what do you want your future self to think of you? Where do you want to be? What is going to make 6 months from now easier to handle? And that's the path to the right. And then also, those taking the path to the right is going to make this situation better, because listen, I am a so much better partner to James if I am exercising and eating well. Right. I can sleep better if I'm exercising and eating well.
That goes for
I don't
parents.
Snap at my clients, everyone,
right?
So if you want to be a better spouse, if you want to be a better parent, if you want to have more patience, all of those things, you have to put on your oxygen mask first. Like, you have to take care of yourself. And it also just feels empowering to control what you can control, right? Like, it does not feel good to be like, I'm just going to give into everything. It feels much more like I'm a survivor, I'm strong, and it bleeds into everything else.
Well, too, when you're obsessed about things that you can't control, then all that does is just you're banging your head against a brick wall, because you have no control over them, and then that's going to lead to just spiraling anxiety of what if. But you don't. I mean, worrying about we'll use the pandemic as an example. You can take precautions and you can be smart and you can make good, healthy choices. But there's a whole large aspect of this that we have no control over, and so you might as well just, when it's I would love for things to be wide open and everyone living their normal lives by June 1st, but if that's not how it goes, then we just have to roll with the punches. Understanding that that controlling you, and recognizing that all this other stuff you can't control, and just, hey, I can't, I have to accept them for what they are.
Yeah.
It's well, like the other side of the coin.
For sure. And it's that space, it's the Viktor Frankl quote, right? Like, our biggest amount of power in life is the space between stimulus and response. And not worrying doesn't mean like going out and like sneezing in people. Like, it's not being stupid. It's just being rational, right? Like, it's not that when I say to my clients, control what you can control, it doesn't mean that I'm saying to them, go out and make like idiotic choices.
You're like remote control on the TV. I can control that.
Yeah. It means like respond intelligently and honor the emotion, but don't believe that the emotion, dictates a bit. So if you're sad, I'm not saying to you, don't be sad. I'm not saying to you, don't like think about your spouse or don't think about the situation. You can be sad, but then guess what? If you're sad, phone a friend and talk about it and find a better solution. But don't think, oh, well, because I'm sad, then I'm going to eat a bunch of these cookies, right? Like you have to find that balance, because for sure, this is hard times, but honoring the emotion doesn't mean
letting it control you.
Well, yeah, exactly. that's that control. You can't switch off an emotion. It's not possible to switch off lonely or to switch off, angry. Tired or angry. You can't switch those on and off. What you can control is your response to those.
Exactly. Sure. And I would also say that, to quote Tony Robbins, the idea of state, story, strategy. So if you are feeling lonely, then, or sad or frustrated or angry, you're in a very certain physiological state, which is going to make you create a very certain story about the situation. Like, so very negative, very pessimistic, all of those things, which is going to end up creating a really negative strategy. Like, I'm going to eat all the cookies kind of thing. Right. Yeah. So the best thing to do is to change your physiological state, meditate, phone a friend, go for a walk, put on some music, dance around, listen to a podcast. So don't exactly. Be a little, honor that emotion. Don't say like, well, I'm not that things, but do something active to change the state. And that even could just be some really good self-talk. Like, one of the things I always say to myself is, Kathleen, the boulder is only heavy if you pick it up. So don't pick it up. Like, don't pick up that worry. If in the future you need to pick up the boulder, then you're going to be better able to handle it if you've left it on the ground. Like, if you carry around this really heavy boulder for a year and then all of a sudden, like, you're not going to be able to hold it. You're going to be broken down. You're going to be broken. So eat well, meditate, sleep, exercise. And then if in the future somebody that you do love gets sick or something happens that is really a really heavy boulder that you have to carry, then you'll be able to do it. But don't do it. Don't pick it up until you need to.
Exactly. Because there are times where you'll have to carry that boulder around.
For sure.
But just not do it like Monday through Friday,
like
all
Rick
the time.
Right, absolutely. On the show every week.
Yeah. Rick. Happens. So, when you have to pick up the boulder, you'll be strong enough to pick it up, but hopefully you never will, or hopefully you can sort of like kick it a bit and then it goes away.
Maybe roll it a little bit.
Just roll, exactly. Yeah.
Holiday in Stillness is the Key talks about this a little bit. He's talking about anger, and it's like, you're angry. If you let anger control you, right, you might spout off and say something you don't want to say to somebody. You can always go back and apologize for that. But guess what?
It's already been said.
You're still said.
It's already been said.
Right.
Yeah, no,
so that
you can't unring a bell.
Right. That just like really resonated with me. Like, man, there's a I could think of, that's an issue that I have, is sometimes like saying something and it's be like, why?
Oh my God, yeah. It's just, you get trigger happy totally.
And
we all it's so hard. Yeah. But it's all that. It's like, I love that you say the word practice, because all of this, it's a muscle that needs to get stronger, right? That idea of having the patience to not respond, like react to an emotion, to be able to step back and observe yourself and sort of say, like, is this useful? What's going on? How can I better handle this? Like, am I just really hungry? Do I need to eat something? Do I need to sleep? Do I need to drink some water? Do I need to phone my mom? Do I need to phone but it's that ability to sort of step back and look at your life from that bird's eye view a bit and sort of say, like,
and as a fitness person, I think you'll like this analogy. I think of like somebody who's like, you know what? I'm going to be the person that can bench press 400 pounds. Okay. And you sign up for a bench press competition, like 2 years in the future, but then you never do any bench press, and then expecting to go to like the competition and just get like crushed by the thing. Right. That's what the practice is. Going to the gym is mindfulness, is distancing yourself from your emotions and like actually like kind of seeing yourself in space before you do something stupid. I love, there's another quote. This is Viktor Frankl. This is out of Man's Search for Meaning. He says, there's a quote in there that's like live right now like you're getting a chance to relive it, and you didn't make the mistake you made.
I love that. It's so true.
And it's just like, oh, that's so good.
Yeah, it's so good. He's brilliant.
That's another Man's Search for Meaning is another one that's it's like
it's
a 4-hour audiobook.
Yeah.
It's a
I'm actually
really,
searching that. Man's Search
it's
for
an amazing
Meaning.
It's an amazing. Yeah, he's an amazing man.
I probably read it.
But it's so true. Everything he says, it's that ability to sort of, I think of it almost of being the producer of your life. Like, I think we all become the main event of our movie. Like, you become you're the Angelina Jolie or the Brad Pitt. It's like all, and then you lose perspective of like, you lose perspective of what's going on and like how your actions are affecting others, how other people see you, what's the big picture, and then you can get really caught up in that emotion of like, oh my God, I'm so sad. I keep going like with having to eat the cookies because I work with a lot of people who have like emotional eating.
Cookies are good.
Anything, right? No, but it could be like getting angry at the wrong person or getting angry at your spouse when really it's something about you, or but it's that ability to be like, okay, so if I was the producer of this movie, what is this character feeling? What's the reason going on? What would they have to
That's
do
a mindfulness practice right
to
there.
Make themselves better. Yeah, exactly.
You're like tricking your brain into being mindful, like looking at like what you're doing now. It's like
and just like taking a pause.
Like thinking about what you're thinking about is another one of those kind of running circle tricks. Like if you can only think that one thing at a time. So if you think about what you're thinking about, that's like that's a mindfulness anchor.
It's
just
so
kind of like, hey, people are like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. But if you just do it,
it's like a meta moment. It's like a moment within the moment to sort of say like,
you guys are inceptioning me over here.
Right. Rick's holding it on himself.
But I do think that everybody listening, like they're probably all thinking like, what the hell? Like, but it takes practice and it's hard. Right. Like, I'm very open about the fact that I've been in therapy for 20 years and I still sometimes I'm like, what the F? Like, how can I have been in therapy for 20 years and I still made that wrong decision? Right?
Imagine if
I've never done therapy.
Yeah, jeez.
But like, we all make it's I don't know. I think the thing about this pandemic, it amplifies a lot of the issues that we always need to face. And one of those issues is finding this wonderful balance between holding ourselves accountable and having those growth moments and that growth mindset, that Carol Dweck growth mindset kind of thing, but also being like giving ourselves a little bit of grace and knowing that we're doing sort of the best we can, but finding like that balance between the two. So it's compassion, but it's self-compassion from a place of like that we love ourselves, like from a place of being like a parent. Like you wouldn't be a parent and say to your kid, oh, I love you so much, here's 14 tubs of ice cream. Like that's not compassionate. But you would say to a kid like, oh, let's like maybe let's just have a really small piece and really savor it, like so it's that idea of like stepping back to yourself and finding the balance between those two extremes. You're not letting yourself off the hook, but you're also not berating yourself and being mean to yourself, and that's I think a trick in the pandemic because we all are very stressed.
Right. Okay. I can't believe we're at 30 minutes.
What?
I know, and I was gonna say I love this idea too that like okay. This also has kind of forced us to self-identify why do you do what you do? Do you wake up every morning and shower and like have your routines and all that because of your job, because of your kids, or is it inside of you? Would you do it anyway? And I think one of the things that Ryan Holiday talks about is during this time is like keep your routines, keep that going. It's like why do you do what you do? Is it because you are the kind of person that's going to get up and like be productive, or are there like external factors that are forcing you to be like someone that
tell you what, if I didn't have to go to the office still Monday through Friday, I would foot long beard, yellow teeth,
with a foot
no teeth
dog.
There'd be no teeth brushing whatsoever.
I have been flossing, I'll say that.
You have been flossing. Yeah, I'm trying. I don't know, I think to your point, and just the thing that I might leave everybody to think about is just this idea of our lives have all changed so much because of the pandemic. And again, it amplifies this idea that we can always create habits by default or design, which I think is sort of similar to what you're talking about with the Ryan Holiday. It's like, but because our lives have changed, that the shift gives us the opportunity to create habits by design, right? Like, and it's new habits are going to be created no matter what. Like that's, I think the trick is that people have to understand, like you're on a diet no matter what. You're either just conscious of it or not. You have an exercise program. It's either just conscious or not. Like, and maybe it's a Netflix sitting watching, but it's still like, that is your program. Even if you're doing nothing, right? And you have habits, no matter if you've created them intentionally or not. And this is an opportunity because you're not going into the office anymore, or you're stuck with your kids, to be like, okay, so what do I want? Like, if I am designing the life and my habits, like, what are anchors that are really important to me? So for example, for me, like, education is really important. So I just signed up for level 1 animal flow certification, all on Zoom, because I was like, I can't not travel for conferences. So like, I have to design that into my life.
I thought she was going to say she's signed up for level 1 Spanish, Rick. And I was going to be like,
yes!
I'm learning.
Mark is learning Spanish. One word at a time.
I'm really bad at languages. So that probably should be what I signed up for.
I should have signed up for Canadian and just learned Canadian.
Just said A.
You just have to learn, and sorry. You have to say sorry a lot of times.
Yeah. Okay, we got to let you go.
Okay.
But hang on. We're the last question.
Yes. Okay.
Real quickly, are you still at the same places? Is it KathleenTrotter.com and your book?
Yes, KathleenTrotter.com. Yeah, and Fit by Kathleen T is on all my socials. Although now that everybody knows my email, they can just email me.
Right.
There you go. Kill two birds with one stone.
And then, okay, the final question.
Yeah.
I'm taking a question that I ask everybody. I'm kind of putting a little COVID spin on it.
Ooh.
Too soon. What is something that you enjoy about life, or something that you do to make life more enjoyable in this shelter-in-place context?
Honestly,
it's like something that you look up for and like you're excited.
Yeah, podcasts. Honestly,
really?
I absolutely love. Yeah, no, truly, like a good podcast. If I'm in a bad mood, I really, going back to that sort of state story strategy, I will not allow myself to create a strategy until I've listened to a podcast. So like a Tim Ferriss podcast or a Ryan Holiday, like the one that Tim Ferriss and Ryan Holiday did about COVID and like all, like mind blown. Yeah. And then I listened to that and I'm like, I am a happier human. And then I'm so much able to make better decisions.
Would you say being a guest on podcasts would also be?
Oh, 100%. I did this on my birthday. I've said that already. Yeah. I'm a really big believer in creating the life doing the actions that I know will make me a happier version of Kathleen, happier, more productive, healthier, that. And so doing podcasts, like this has made my night. Like this has made me, I had a very long day today and I had a lot of stressors and I was like very tired, and now I'm awake and thank you very much. Now I'm not going to be able to sleep. It's like
you're going to start Don't F with Cats, and you're not going to be able to go to bed because you're going to watch all like 6 episodes tonight. Yeah.
But no, I love being on podcasts. I love this. So
awesome. Well, you join the elite group of 2-time guests on the show. So
we're going to give you a blazer with a number 2.
Amazing. And if I watch this Cats show, maybe I can come on a 3rd time and we can talk about cats.
Yes, we can just do a whole thing about that.
Just all on this show. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Then we'll do Tiger King next. We'll do.
I also have not seen Tiger King. I don't think he's very good at these shows about animals.
Listen. After 4 episodes, you'll be like, man, these people are real wacky. And then after 6 episodes, you're going to be like, this is the saddest thing I've ever seen in my life. I feel like I need a shower after watching this. You're going to feel disgusting. So
you're just forewarning me. Okay, I got it.
Well, this will be up.
There are no winners in the Tiger King story. There are no winners at all.
I have heard that, which is why I didn't watch it, because I just don't need anything else in my life. I feel like that's the other thing I really do to make myself happy is I curate what I listen to. There's not a lot, like minimal amount of news, only good programs, and not a lot of shows that make me feel like
garbage in, garbage out, Rick.
That's what my mama used to say. And I would swear, say darn it.
Oh my God, she shouldn't meet me then.
She shouldn't meet me either.
You and Rick are keys in a pod. Rick is his ears are smoking at the end of every show of all the cuss words he didn't say. But
I like it. We are
birds of a feather.
Exactly. We're kindred spirits, as Anne of Green Gables would say.
Which
is a Canadian reference for you guys.
My mother loves Anne of Green Gables, the whole series.
Maybe
they live on a farm, and she put up a big sign at the front gate and calls it Green Gables.
Oh my God. Okay. So you tell your mother that I love her, and you tell her that when I grew up, so my mom was an actress when I was growing up, and I was only allowed to watch 1 hour of TV a week, and it had to be Canadian. And therefore I read like all of the books ever. And sometimes one of the hours of TV I would watch would be the Anne of Green Gables movies, because if it was a movie, it was also counted as TV. So yes, I love Anne of Green Gables.
I need to put that in the show notes.
See, there you go. Small world.
Awesome.
You live in a small world.
Well, we will let you go. Thank you so much. It's late there. Go to bed.
Yes.
And we'll hopefully see you again soon.
Yes,
that would be amazing. Okay, bye.
Bye.
You're listening to the Simply Human podcast.